RotoGrinders. Welcome to the MLB SimLabs analysis for Friday, June 20th. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka BlenderHD. BlenderHD, you're going to follow me on Twitter. Hit that thumbs up button on your way in the door and hit that subscribe button if you're new here. And hit the notification bell to always know when we go live. Big 13-game slate tonight on the MLB docket. Big slate. We got Grinders live later today, 5 p.m. Eastern, followed by Crunch Time with Kevin Roth. We take a look at the weather report. I don't know if we have that much to really worry about tonight. I guess the New York game against Baltimore, Tampa Bay, maybe a little bit. I mean, it looks like Roth has all these games playing. The Tampa Bay, we may have to look at models late, but that's why you got to tune into Crunch Time for all the latest news, the starting lineups, the takes, the GPP plays, Spidey bombs, the home run plays, everything like that. Tune into that later today. But me here in the afternoon looking at SimLabs. You know, it's my go-to tool here at RotoGrinders to play plus EV lineups in the contests that I'm looking to play tonight. I'm probably just going to play 3 lineups tonight. It's a large slate. And we have a bunch of options on both sides of the ball, both pitching and hitting. So probably 3 lineups, smaller field GPPs. But you could build for large field. You could build for single entry. You could build for any different type of slate. Pitching-wise, the number one projected pitcher on the slate is Hunter Brown, 11.2K against the strikeout-happy Los Angeles Angels. Then we have next highest. We have a bunch of pretty high projected pitchers. Zach Wheeler, 10.8K against the Mets. We got Max Fried, 10K against the Orioles. I guess right underneath that is Nick Pivetta, 9,300 against the Royals. Jack Flaherty, 8,500 against the Rays. Joe Ryan, 9,500 against the Brewers. And then we got guys like Birdsong and that cheaper options like Tanner Bybee and Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen's going to be an interesting case today because when we take a look at stacks, Colorado has a 5.11 implied team total. I know they're not a good team. They're playing in cores. But Zach Gallen we have as the 4th highest optimal rate pitcher. But we also have the Rockies as one of the higher optimal rate stacks. So that's going to be a high variance situation. So maybe one of those things where if you think Zach Gallen is going to be overowned, maybe you play more of the Rockies. And if you think the Rockies are going to be overowned, play a little bit more of Zach Gallen. But he's going to be one of the cheaper pitching options at 7,400. I think Tanner Bybee will be more popular, 7K against the Athletics, even though, you know, that Sacramento Stadium is conducive to hitting. The A's have 4.37 implied team total, so not like low, but this is a pretty good matchup for Tanner Bybee. So we have Hunter Brown, 33.85% chance of being optimal. Tanner Bybee, 20.75% chance. Then Max Fried right underneath, around 20%. Zach Gallen, around 18%. Wheeler, 13.5%. Nick Pivetta, 13.5%. Then guys like Flaherty, Ryan, Birdsong in like the 7 to 9% range. This will pretty much encompass what my pitching pool will likely look like. We have some value that you can pay up twice at pitcher, although it may not be the best route. I think I'm much more likely to play one of Bybee or Gallen and then one of Brown, Fried, or Wheeler today. But let's see what SimLabs has to say about that. As far as offenses are concerned, the number one offense in optimal rate on the slate doesn't even have one of the higher totals because we have the Yankees, 5.84 implied run total. The Blue Jays, 5.21 implied run total. We have Arizona, 6.89 implied run total. Colorado, 5.11, and no one else above 5. But the Astros, they're pretty cheap up against Kikuchi, who's a pretty high variance pitcher. We have their optimal rate at 14%. We have them as probably the most underowned stack on the slate as of now. Remember, SimLabs gets updated multiple times throughout the day as starting lineups come in, as weather information comes in, gets updated typically even between 5 and 7 p.m. Eastern, maybe 3 or 4 times. So definitely check the timestamp and run it around then. So we have Houston with the 14% chance of being optimal. Then Arizona close to 10%. They're a pretty expensive stack. I mean, obviously, very high implied team total. They're playing in Colorado. Probably a good play. Then we got the Yankees at 9.5%. Then we have Colorado, fourth on the board, 7.27%. Because they're not all that expensive. And, they're playing in Colorado. Zach Gallen, we could see here, fourth highest optimal rate pitcher, but also the Colorado's fourth highest optimal rate stack. If I were playing 20 lineups, maybe I would still play like Zach Gallen in some, as well as the Rockies and others. I'm not sure what I'm going to do today. It really depends on how I think Gallen is going to be owned versus the Rockies. So that's really what's going to come down to. I'm going to check out Crunch Time later today. Go on SimLabs on my iOS device on my phone. Build lineups then. And yeah, because we have Gallen right now at 21% projected own. We have all these pitchers that I mentioned around 20% projected own. Hunter Brown 23, Bybee 25, Fried 25, Gallen 21, Wheeler 22, Pivetta 15 or so. I think that'll end up sliding. I think Bybee may end up coming in more at the 30 to 35%. Maybe Gallen comes in at 15. As of right now, I think maybe Gallen's the one that's going to be less played than Bybee. So maybe I'm much more inclined to play Gallen than I could play the Rockies today. And I also think that we have Hunter Brown as underowned if everything stays even, because we have Hunter Brown as the higher optimal rate pitcher. So as of right now, I think Brown and Wheeler and Fried will have around the same amount of ownership. Maybe Fried won't be as high because people don't view him as like the highest, the strikeout level pitcher. Although this is a good matchup against what is now a quite pitiful Baltimore lineup with a 3.16 implied run total. He is like the third highest strikeout prop on the board, and at 6.5. I think Fried may be like the safest play today, but I think Wheeler and Brown are fine, right? They're going up against teams with 3.5 implied run totals. I think those are perfectly fine. I'd be much more inclined to just play the lower owned of these bunch. They're all so close together between Brown, Fried, and Wheeler that if you think one's going to be way more owned than the other, play the other guy. So let me go into SimLabs right now. I'm going to build 150 lineups. Even though I'm not going to have to play 150 lineups, I want to see what shows up more. 5-man stacks. It's a 13-game slate. You're probably stacking 5-man. And let's see what SimLabs has to say early in this afternoon. Who we get more of, who we get less of. You remember, as I always say in the Theory of DFS, my courses, theoryofdfs.com, you can pick them up there, that you always in your lineups want the right combination, the right blend, the right balance of projection, correlation, and leverage, and determined on the size of the contest that you're playing. And lineup HQ and doing it like manually, like you can get there. But SimLabs kind of like does all that work for you. Runs 10,000 plus simulations of the contest over and over and over again, and shows you the lineups that stand to be profitable over the long term. And there could be hundreds upon hundreds of them, right? Typically, any lineup in SimLabs that gives you, 65, 70 SimLabs rating plus, pretty good lineups. The differences between like the top and the bottom, not as great as you think, right? It's like, oh, well, this one is labeled 95 and this one is 72. Yeah, one is technically probably a little bit more if you played this out like 17 trillion times. But in a very short-term period, right, in small samples, the difference between a SimLab rated 70 lineup and a 95 lineup isn't all that dramatic. You just want to make sure that you're playing the right types of lineups and the right types of contests. And if you're getting stuff in, if you're locking in team stacks or filtering out players and you're getting combinations that, SimLab says is like a 12, that means you're doing something wrong. But if you're getting ones that are, 60, 70, 80, 90, that means you're doing something right. So let's look at the exposures tab. Take a look at starting pitching. And yeah, a lot of Bybee. A lot of, like, as far as a cheap pitcher, a lot of Bybee. But we're also getting plenty of Gallen as well. So let's see. Are there going to be Bybee Gallen lineups that do two cheap pitchers? I'm not necessarily sure. We're getting some Flaherty, Fried. We're getting a lot more Hunter Brown than like Zach Wheeler we have as an over-owned pitcher based on our projected ownership. So not getting anywhere near as much of him. Getting a little less than owned Max Fried, but getting a lot of Hunter Brown. So Hunter Brown, Tanner Bybee lineups are probably going to rate out the best in SimLabs as of now. Then we take a look at the teams. Yeah, a lot of rock. You see, I mean, go back and forth between players and teams. 30% Zach Gallen, 22% Colorado Rockies. That is the high variance spot of the day. So you can either decide to play a little bit of both or kind of go all in on one or the other. I think it's perfectly fine to play either. Then we're getting a bunch of Blue Jays, Yankees. We notably don't see the Yankees as high up here. Then the Braves, with 4.87 implied run total. The Braves. We have a 3% chance of being optimal, but they're not going to be all that owned. Toronto's at 6%. We have them as a little bit over-owned, but that could be fine. What else do we got in SimLabs? We got the Reds, who really isn't on the radar. 4.11 implied team total. We got the Reds at 3%. About similar to Atlanta. So these could be contrarian options, right? Cincinnati, Atlanta. Toronto's there. I think they're fine, but the Yankees stand out more than Arizona. It seems like we go back to SimLabs, and we really don't get much Diamondbacks. Not many Diamondback lineups at all. But I mean, they're going to be Diamondback lineups. Maybe Diamondbacks are much better off as one-offs, because we can see here's a Blue Jays lineup with Flaherty and Gallen. You have a 5-man Blue Jay stack with 2 Diamondbacks. And here's a Rocky stack. And the number 1 rated lineup is Pavetta Bybee. And then you get a 5-man Rockies lineup and 3-man Diamondbacks. So it seems like we're getting plenty of Diamondbacks, but not necessarily in a 5-man stack. Then we have lineups like Blue Jays, Yankees, Rockies, Braves, right? Here's Blue Jays with a couple of one-offs. A Yankee is the top-rated Yankee lineup. So here's a Yankee lineup with Brown, Gallen, which sounds like it's playable. Then then LeMahieu, Chisholm, Bellinger, Grissom, Stanton, Mason Wynn, Pete Alonso, Kyle Teal as one-offs. Obviously a $2,500 catcher. You could punt there. You're punting in some spots also. So what else do we got here? Another Rockies lineup, another Yankees lineup. Gallen, Bybee, Wells, Goldschmidt, Chisholm, Judge, Stanton, with Ozuna as a one-off, Gabriel Arias as a one-off, and Addison Barger as a one-off. This isn't that bad, right? But it looks like here's another Yankees lineup with Dubon, Spencer Steele, Josh Lowe in the lineup. And you can see here by the ownership-wise, it's like even the pitching ownership is not so out of control, because we have them all around 20% owned or so. So getting different at pitcher isn't that all big of a deal. So you could play some of the chalkier bats, but even some of these, it's a 13-game slate, a lot of single-digit owned players, right? We may have one-off Diamondbacks being 10 to 12% owned or so, right? Not many hitters that are going to be superly, Stanton at 12%. No, super chalky hitters. So, the need to be absurdly different. Here's a Diamondback stack. Flaherty, Turnbull. I mean, Turnbull's a cheap option. I'm not gonna set. I mean, is he gonna pitch 80 pitches even? He's gonna be 2% owned, but where's the upside, right? Where's the upside here for Spencer Turnbull on a slate with 26 pitchers and 13 games? So we may get a little bit of Turnbull, because we have Turnbull. He projects pretty decently for 5,800, but 12 points? What are you going to get? I mean, I guess if you get the stack that scores 18 runs, then 12 points a pitcher may matter. But I think your aim should be, can I get 40-plus points in both my pitcher spots today? And I'm not sure Turnbull will do that. So let's take a look at some of these Yankee lineups. You can go into settings, and you could actually lock the Yankee stack in. And even lock in who you want. If we're going to play Hunter, I want to look at Hunter Brown, Tanner Bybee lineups that have the Yankees. And what do they look like? What Yankees are in the stack, and what are the one-offs, and what's the salary distribution, right? So I could lock that in. This is what you can do in SimLabs. You can also do it on the phone, right? You can hit get lineups. And this is what I would do. Like if I'm playing 3 lineups, I think I'm probably going to play a Yankees lineup today. I'm going to choose whether or not I play Gallen or the Rockies. I'm still not sure yet. I still think I get the sense that Gallen is going to be under-owned today compared to the Rockies. So yeah, here we have a Yankees lineup. Austin Wells, Chisholm, Volpe, Grissom, Stanton. A 1% owned Alex Call, and 2 Rockies in the lineup with Bibee and Brown. Here's they rate up well, 91, 87, right? Some of these lineups. Here's Christian Wall. You can play some Astros in this with Ronnie Mauricio. You're punting there at third base. Here's Matt McClain. There's plenty of like 1% owned batters today, right? Here's one, Hunter Brown, Tanner Bibee, Goldschmidt, Chisholm, Volpe, Bellinger, Stanton. Matt Wallner is a one-off. And then Dubon and Yainer Diaz for the Astros. Like, this is a lineup that I definitely would play. So here's some 5-man Yankee stacks that do include a fairly chalky combination of Brown and Bibee. Although, like I said before, I don't know if the pitching combination is going to be like all that. Like, yeah, they're chalky in comparison. But I don't think we're going to be having like 240+% on pitchers today. And then you have to kind of like look around and get a little bit more different in your stacks. But even then, like some of these stacks, look at the ownership here. Single digit own, right? So let's say we wanted to play Brown and Bibee, but we wanted to play, like, what are these other, like, let's say we wanted to play an Arizona lineup, okay? Can we play Arizona lineups with Brown and Bibee? Can we do that? Like, what does this look like? Let me put in 20. So it doesn't mean that they're not good combinations, just that there aren't as many of them. So even though, like in our 150 set, the Diamondbacks barely came up, I guarantee you, well, no line. Okay, they didn't even find any lineups. Okay, I'm not even sure if you can play Bibee and Brown with an Arizona stack. Let's see. Let's try that again. Sometimes it comes back with no lineups. Sometimes it comes back with like garbage-ish lineups. And that should be the clue that maybe you shouldn't be playing them. Okay, here we go. Right? Yeah. Look, the SimLab ratings just start going down, down, down. So Pivetta, Bibee, Marte, Suarez, Carroll, Gurriel, Tim Tawa, right? And then Trenton Brooks. Yeah, you have to punt in a lot of spots, right? Elias Diaz, 2,600. Brooks, 2K. Miguel Rojas at 2,100. Yeah, it's very hard. That's the main reason. It's not like the Diamondbacks are like not a good team today. They have the highest implied team total. It's just that the stack is very expensive, right? You're going to punt at so many spots. And that may not be optimal today, right? Bibee, Turnbull. You have to play a Bibee, Turnbull lineup, and you still have a Will Robertson at 2,400 and a Patrick Bailey at 2,200 in your lineup. So this is basically the main reason why, although the Diamondbacks in cores, easily could, but if they put up 10 runs, they may still not even be optimal. Remember, it's a 13-game slate, which means there's plenty of other chances about some of these teams, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Braves, the Phillies, the Cardinals. Some of these teams have close to 5.5 run implied totals. The Astros, the Guardians, I guess, the Dodgers. That it's not just, Diamondbacks or that's it. There's nothing else you could do. But if you wanted to play them, it's going to be pretty damn tough. But I think the main thing on this slate is that, like, pitching wise, some of these lineups do have like a Jansen Junk and a Spencer Turnbull. I just think there's going to be enough offense on the slate. Look at these totals. I just think there's going to be enough offense that you'll be able to find enough players that, stack wise and one-offs that hit enough that even if like the Diamondbacks play, like if the Diamondbacks score 10 runs and then like Spencer Turnbull has 5 perfect innings, like that's the way you make those lineups work. But it's a very, very narrow case for those. So yeah, it looks like from a 10,000-foot view, a 10,000 sim view, as of right now in the afternoon, I'm a little bit more inclined to play play Hunter Brown over Zach Wheeler. A little bit more inclined to play Zach Gallen over the Rockies stack as of now. And I think the top stack of the day, maybe the Yankees, even though it's not like they're hitting all that well, but maybe I mean, we don't have them that owned. And they have nearly a 6 total. So Yankees, probably, if I took a look at top stacks, probably a Yankees lineup. And probably one of like Cincinnati or Atlanta. And then maybe Toronto or Houston or something like that. As of right now, that's where I'm leading. That's where the Sims are leading. And you can get all of this as part of your Combo Light package here at RotoGrinders. You get full access to SimLabs for the 4 major sports, NFL, NBA, MLB, and PGA. Access to all of our research tools include Plate IQ, Court IQ, Weather Edge, and all of our premium written content, which includes Cheese's Goods, $1 Million Musings, which he writes every weekday here for MLB. Click on that link in the description for more information. But you know what's free? That like button. Hit that like button. It definitely helps us out. Hit the subscribe button if you are indeed new here. And hit the notification bell to know when we go live. 5 p.m. Eastern, Grinders Live. 6:15, 6:20 p.m. Eastern or so, Grinders Live. We have to make sure that this Tampa Bay game plays. It probably will, but Roth will be on with the Doppler weather for. He's up in the helicopter. I don't know. He's the weather guy. He's an actual meteorologist, and he'll give you the insight on is this game going to play? When is it going to rain? Maybe it's a late start. Maybe it's a delay in the middle. His track record on this is very good, so definitely tune in to that later, and I'll be back next week for more MLB SimLabs analysis here at RotoGrinders.com.